We're late. Welcome and thank you for your patience. This is Casual AF, the gaming stream, so casual. I don't even play video games on it. I'm here with Craig Bragg. Craig, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you, sir?
Living the dream, you know me.
Good for
We're
you. Yeah, it's been a while since we did a live stream. I think the last one we did was Ammunition 70.
I think so. That was at least 3 weeks because my last live
Yeah,
stream was a month or more, just
yeah,
over a month ago. So yeah, we've just had some things to do.
yeah. Life, life
Things
kind of
came up.
getting in the way of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry we started late tonight, folks. It was my fault. I was at a PPC rally here in Burlington. Got to see Maxime Bernier up on stage, and he was speaking, and that was kind of a thrill. And I just made it home just in time for us to go live, pretty much. So yeah.
Doing adult life and shit. Hello, gentlemen. Ajax, Six, Pox. Thanks for coming, guys. Thanks for coming. And Ajax says, please note, any and all super chats of the stream will be assessed at 273% tariff.
Yeah.
Can you imagine getting a super chat and having to pay more than the super chat in tariffs?
Yeah. No, what would end up happening is basically the government would just basically tax it. They would collect it. They would say, "Oh, you had a super chat. It was $4. We're going to take 377 of that, and the other 23." Never mind the fact that Google already takes 30% of all super
Yeah.
chats. So after the 30% that Google takes, the government takes another 40%, and you're left with whatever that works out
No,
to.
and then I owe them $2.
There you go. Yep, try to kill the independent online media in Canada.
It's wild. Let's jump into Wag me, brother. Wag. We're
Let's
all gonna
do
make
it.
it. We're all gonna make it.
We are. We are.
We can pay six in maple syrup. I'm
Sounds
loving
good.
the book, by the way. Mostly, I'll discuss it with them later.
Okay.
Uh, but I'm very very enthused about major parts of it.
Good. Good. I'll have to admit, six. I have not read since the first bit of the chapter, the prologue that was in Spanish. I'm like, I can't fucking read this, and I'm like, I want to read the prologue because I want to know the backstory before I get into the actual meat and potatoes of the story. But I feel like I'm being frozen out of knowing what's going on because I'm like, fuck, it's
So,
in Spanish.
also just a note: Craig and I are not actually reading the same book. Six has written
No.
many now,
Yeah.
and yeah, the book I'm reading, I have just enough Spanish that when the Spanish speaking characters, who also speak English, all right, but when they throw things at each other in Spanish, I can pick it up in just enough Spanish.
I know Yo quiero Taco Bell, and I know cerveza is beer.
I can't remember the Spanish, but I do remember one character says to his horse, "Be nice to the guy, don't murder him."
The horse isn't going to murder. Okay, I can skip the Spanish part. I could. You're right. I probably will skip the Spanish part. I just feel like I'm missing out on something. I know it's taking place in a car that somebody's giving someone else a ride. I can't remember if it was a taxi or, but anyway. Um, yeah, all the dialogue, like the story's written in English, but the
Hmm.
dialogue's in Spanish. I'm like, what do they fucking say to each other? I need subtitles. Anyway, it's all good.
So how you doing at the gym?
Doing well, actually. Today, I don't know if it's a PR or I've done it before, but not today. This week, so I do my chest twice a week, once on Monday and once on Friday. Not once, but three chest exercises Monday, three chest exercises on Friday. On Friday, I do dumbbell incline press, and I do 50 in each hand, which is,
Nice.
prior to that, I was doing like 40, 45. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I start with a warm up with 30s. So I warm up with 30. I do one set. I should probably do two warm up sets, but I do one set of 30s. My shoulders bother me a little bit. So that's why I think I've been reluctant to go a little heavier than 40 or 45.
Mm.
But this week I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to do it. So I took the 250s, two sets of 10. And then the third set I failed at 8. So I'm like, all right, I worked my chest out good. Then I'm doing pec deck flies. And then what did I do? Oh, and then I did cable press, cross press. So basically my arms are going like this.
Yeah.
And yeah, my chest feels really good. And then I did legs on Thursday, and I haven't really done my calves very much. Like I haven't been putting my calves under a lot of pressure. Most I would do would be like stair calves. But this week I was able to get one of the leg press machines real quick. As soon as I walked in, I'm like, fine, cool. I'm gonna do my calves first. So I put 45 on each peg and did basically calf presses, and then I put another 45 on each. So I'm doing 180 on my calves, and then I went to 5 plate, so 5 on each side,
Holy
and I did
shit.
my regular leg press. And I'll be honest, I could probably do 6.
Then you should.
I will. Next time I do legs, I'm going to do 6 because I did 10. I did 3 full sets of 10 reps.
Just don't ego lift. That's the one machine where you
No, no,
can
no.
really like pop something.
Yeah. No, I'm very good about keeping my spine directly on the chair. Like I don't.
Oh, and your knees.
Oh yeah, you can fuck your knees up, but I don't lock them out when I go to the
Good,
top.
good.
I go a little slightly less than locked out. Pox says something. Just carry wet drywall in a trash can uphill in the rain and mud for a few hours, and you will live forever. Yeah, man. Like fucking Stallone in Rocky. Was it Rocky 3? Rocky 4? Fucking Ivan Drago's doing all that like scientific lifting and measurements and shit like that, and got scientists, and he's out there in the fucking snow carrying fucking
Old
logs.
school. Old school.
My
No,
legs are
and you know what? I give you a lot of crap, Craig, about the fitness thing. I'm always like, you're doing it wrong.
well, everybody tells me that. Fuck you. At least I'm doing it.
But, you know, you were right about one thing and I was wrong.
What's that?
Uh, I just want to say that again. Everyone pay attention. I was wrong. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't getting enough protein.
Oh no.
No. Like, I mean, like, I had put on roughly 20 pounds over a couple of years.
Yeah.
Get with 70 to 90 grams of protein a day, right?
Yeah.
Just my normal intake. Now that I've started paying attention to it, all this week, maybe a little longer than a week, I've been getting 130 plus grams
Yeah.
of protein.
How much do you weigh?
175.
Yeah, so that's 0.7 grams per pound.
Yeah, give or take, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so much stronger in a week just taking in all that protein. I
I
might
worry
even
that
be
sometimes you
bigger.
can do too much because first off, whey protein's not cheap, so you could just at the end up be wasting it. But I'm not sure how it metabolizes if you have so much protein that your body can't use it for repair. Does it get metabolized as fat? Does it just get excreted out? What happens to it? Does it deposit in your liver? Like I have no idea.
It's very difficult to turn protein into fat. You probably just waste it.
Yeah.
But if you're working out, you know, 3 to 6 days a week and
Yeah.
you're eating 120, 130 grams of protein every day, it's probably not wasted.
No.
So yeah, like, but geez, man, and like eat eat more chicken, eat beans.
Yes,
So
it's
I
true.
I keep saying there are no magic bullets, right? You've got to. It's all like just be patient and disciplined. No, my magic bullet, I found it.
What's that?
Egg whites in a carton.
Yeah, I supplement my whole eggs with egg whites because it's just like free extra protein, and it's like you could either have your pan, you could either have the bottom of your pan have like some gaps with a little bit of ghee floating in it, or you can fill it up with egg whites. So that's what I do. I have a third of a cup of egg whites and 3 whole eggs, and that's a good amount of protein. And
Sure.
the egg yolks are where you get all the good shit, and the egg whites are just pure protein.
Yeah.
You buy egg whites. You use egg whites in a protein shake. Then you said you use cocoa, egg whites, and what else? Water,
Lactose free milk.
lactose free milk. Okay, why lactose free? Just because the sugar?
Oh, because I'm lactose intolerant.
Or is that most people in the West are lactose intolerant after they get out of childhood?
Yeah. Um, And I
Lactose is
surprised somebody.
also
I
lactose is also milk sugar. So if you can get it,
Sure.
yeah. So
But, yeah, no, I mean, like, I posted the stats there, right? That it's 300 calories, 40 grams of protein, 1 gram of fiber, 12 grams of sugar, and I think 9 grams of fat.
yeah,
And it's a cup of egg whites, a cup of milk, and a tablespoon of cocoa. Right. And the cocoa's not even for flavor because without the cocoa, it just tastes like milk.
yeah,
Right. The cocoa's for the flavanols.
yeah.
I've been hearing about this on all these ads popping up for cocoa flavanols save
It's a good
lives,
thing, man.
and then they're like, buy our supplement, $80 a week. It's like I have a kilo of cocoa in the pantry that
Yeah,
costs $5.
yeah. No, hey man, you know what? That's great. I like protein powder. Now here's the thing, Mike Israetel. Have you seen what Mike Israetel did to himself?
Yeah, the
That's
surgery.
fucking intense, eh? Anyway, he was. I saw a YouTube short where he's talking about. Someone was asked which is better, animal protein or whey protein, and he said, quite frankly, whey protein is better. Like when they were starting to gauge out which is the best, most bioavailable protein you can consume, eggs were the benchmark at like 100 or 10 or whatever, and then whey protein is higher than eggs. So I mean, eggs is much more natural than whey protein, but it's fucking protein from milk. That's how they do it. They basically take it from milk solids and they so anyway, I like my protein powder. It is expensive. Belief Supplements is not cheap, but goddamn, man, that chocolate flavor, the dark chocolate protein powder is delicious, even with water. Like, did you ever drink YooHoo growing up?
No.
Yeah, I think it was more of an American thing.
Well,
It's
no,
like
like,
chocolate
okay.
water. YooHoo is chocolate water.
So I had it once and I never drank it again
Yeah, it's just
because
fucking
fuck that
water.
disgusting
Yeah,
nonsense.
it's
That's
disgusting.
terrible.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's basically chocolate syrup in water.
It's
Well,
like chocolate toothpaste, man. What the fuck?
but the Believe dark chocolate whey protein isolate mixed with water. So I take 2 scoops with water and ice, and it's fucking delicious. Like I could put milk in it if I want, but I don't need to. Water's fine. Fucking love you who said next 6 minutes. Why am I not surprised? Why am I not? Next 6 minutes
Uh,
has all like he likes all the weird fucking foods.
Hard-boiled eggs with mustard. Poor man's eggs Benedict.
Fucking sling blade over here. I like a little mustard. Mm. Nah, you're cool, Six. I like hard boiled eggs with just salt. That's just me. Just salt. A little bit of salt. I can mow down on them.
See, where I hate eggs, so this I can drink my eggs and they just taste like milk.
You don't like cooked eggs, like fried eggs?
Not particularly, no.
I like them, but I can't do them every fucking day because I just get sick of them. So I'm doing fried eggs in the morning, probably twice a week, and then the rest of the week I'm eating Stiggy's full fat, plain unsweetened yogurt, which essentially is like sour cream, and
Yeah.
um, and I just add a little bit of granola and some maple syrup, and it's delicious. So
Pour some egg whites in it.
I
That's what
could do
I'm
that
doing.
too. Yeah, I could put some protein powder in if I wanted to, but
Same difference.
yeah,
I mean, ultimately, if you
yeah,
what you're looking to like what I'm looking to do is increase the protein intake, right?
right,
So and find easy ways. Now, the best part about this shake thing, it's light.
yeah. Well,
It's
because
not heavy.
now do you shake it or do you blend it?
Oh no, I just shake it up in the bottle, right?
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, just cocoa doesn't dissolve well in anything, especially if it's not hot. So you just shake the shit out of it for five
Yeah,
minutes before I start downing it.
it was developed so they wouldn't have to refrigerate it in transport. That makes sense because it's just cocoa and water or chocolate and water. Yeah.
Terrible.
I remember the commercials for it. Even they looked fucking jank. The commercials for you who were jank too.
I don't remember them.
Just like a bunch of fucking random kids coming into camera frame going, yoo-hoo. Mexican hot chocolate is the best. I don't know what Mexican hot chocolate is.
Isn't that mole sauce?
Mole, so I don't know what that is either.
It's like chocolate hot pepper sauce for
Oh yeah.
pork and stuff.
Hot pepper's good. What's his name? Tom DeLauer was talking about flax seeds are really good
Sure.
for like people are worried about an estrogenic effect from flax seeds. That's why a lot of men avoid flax seeds. But apparently,
Mhm.
you have to eat a whole shit ton of flax seeds in order for there to be an estrogenic effect. But apparently, I think they're good at mobilizing fat. They're good at getting fat in your system to start being burned. So I'm like, yeah, cool, all right. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm willing to give it a shot. Caffeine is also really good for mobilizing fat.
Well, you know what's really good for mobilizing fat? Being in a caloric deficit.
That's true.
Yeah.
If you have fat on you to burn, yeah. But no, you're right. Being in a caloric deficit is the first step. But there are certain supplements you can take, certain foods you can eat that help in the um, cleaning out of dead, crappy shit in your body. Fat being one of them, like old dead fat cells or fat cells in your body. You ever watch Dr. Mike Diamonds? He's a black guy.
No.
He's a black guy. He's jacked. He's and he talks a lot. He does personal training and meal planning and shit like that. He's always shilling his own stuff. But um, he helped a YouTuber had 30 days to get shredded for a role in like a film he was doing. It was like, here's what I would do if I needed to lose weight in 30 days, get to the point where I look good on camera. And one of the things he mentioned was like, actually, that makes sense. I might try that because he did the math. He's basically on a daily basis, you're going to burn about 3,500 calories just existing, just breathing and walking around. You're probably going to burn about 3,500 calories.
Who's
So
going to burn 3,500 calories?
anybody, you or me, anybody,
Wrong.
sure.
Go on.
No, dude, I didn't exercise today. I'll tell you how many calories I burned. Well, right now I'm at about 3327. And all I've done today is walk the dogs a few times. Your body is naturally burning calories every minute you're breathing. So,
Sure, but most people's like expenditure is not 33 to 3,500. It's more like between 22 and 2,600. I don't know where they're getting
well,
that number,
I
and
guess it
I don't know
depends.
what your watch is telling you.
I think he's talking about people who are moderately active, right? And I guess if you're watching one of his videos, you're moderately active. You're exercising at least at some point in the day. If all you do is sit at a desk all day and then sit in front of the TV all night, yeah, you're probably only burning about 2,400 calories. But in any event, point is, his thing is, if you just existing is burning 3,500 calories a day, and you're probably eating close to that if you're not watching what you're eating. In order to burn weight, so basically, it's 3,500 calories is about a pound of fat.
Yeah.
So if you do a 24-hour fast every week, you'll be in a 3,500 calorie deficit just from that. Never mind all the other days that you're doing exercise and eating right or whatever. But just by skipping food for 24 hours, you'll burn a pound of fat. So I'm like, you know what? That makes perfect sense. Wednesday is my rest day. So I think starting next week, I'm going to stop eating Tuesday night at 8 and not eat again until Wednesday night at 8. And boom. Like
Interesting.
there's at least 3,500 calories because Wednesday's my rest day. I've done my exercise by 8 o'clock at night on Tuesday, maybe a little bit later, but either way, I can go a whole day and burn 3,500 calories just by not eating. I think it's worth giving a shot. So
That's
I did,
interesting.
I did do my scan. I am below 30% body fat now. Not much, but I am below 30% body fat, so I'm happy about that. So, and I'm
Nice.
surprised at how much I have in my arms. Like I go to the gym, I work on my arms pretty hard, and I'm like, I mean, I know you can't spot fucking target fat
Yeah,
somewhere
there's
in
no
your body,
spot removal.
but I look at these guys who are lifting weights in their arms, and they don't look like they're much. They don't look like they're leaner than I am, but I'm looking at how vascular their arms are and how much it just looks like muscle and skin. And then I look at myself, I'm like, I got fucking fat all in my arms. Like, why can't I get rid of the fat on my arms? But anyway, it is what it is. Sorry, man. I'm dominating your fucking show
No, it's
here.
all right. I'd like to be under 20% soon,
Same. That's where I want to get.
right? But
If I can get like 18, 19%, I'd be very, very happy because then I'd I'd start to be able to see, you know, the start of abs. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, I don't expect to get a six pack, not for a while, but I'm starting to lose the the fat in the front, but I still have my love handles, so I want to get rid of those. I think they'll be the last ones to go, but
Well, you got to remember it goes off exactly opposite the way it goes on, right?
right,
And that's for each person. They're going to have their own fat distribution. There
right,
are types and such, right? Like, but yeah, that's just the way. So you just got to be patient and stay in your caloric deficit, right?
yep,
Which is why, like, fasting, useful tool, but sustainable diet is really the key thing, right? So, like, I was telling you several weeks ago that,
yep,
yeah, the aim is about 2000. That way, if I, you know, am really snacky in the evening and I just don't feel like having a bowl of carrots
yeah,
and, oh, look, cinnamon roll, 400 calories, I'm still under,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
I've managed that, and I've managed it so well in this like magic bullet of egg whites. Today I'm at like 1750. I'm not hungry.
Where am I? Let me just take a look. I didn't
Right.
have dinner
Se-
because I went to
1750
this
with
thing.
130 grams of protein, mind you.
So I'm at, as you can see that, 3342, and today I've eaten 1892. I'm at 110 grams of protein. I have quite a bit of carbs because I indulged in a Danish earlier today.
Mm.
80 grams of fat, which is kind of high. I need to get some more protein in me, so I'll probably have some. I'll probably have a protein shake before I go to bed, but that's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I can't believe how much stronger I feel. Like weight's going up like magic almost. Like what the fuck?
I feel the same way. When I did the 5 plate, I'm like, yeah, and I'm looking at a guy like sitting one row ahead of me on the same machine doing 6 plate, and I'm like, okay, I'll get there. But he's like 30 years younger than me, and he can tell that he's been athletic for a good part of his life, and he's doing
Right.
6 plate, and I'm like, nice, I'll get there. And then after I did my 5 plate, I'm like, I could probably do six, but I'll give that next leg day. I'll try six. So
Beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah. I think it's almost time to increase the weight for my overhead press too.
you use a machine or do you use a barbell?
Dumbbells right now.
Dumbbells.
I think at some point I'm gonna have to switch to the bar.
Yeah,
And you like for things like bench press, you were saying you like the dumbbells better, and oftentimes so do I. But something began to make sense to me when I heard somebody else say it, and why I'm struggling with certain things like my overhead press.
yeah,
It's hard to get the dumbbells from your knees into position without hurting yourself when you can do certain amounts of weight. So the bar becomes the only way,
right.
right? When you're too
Once you
strong,
get, yeah, what
yeah,
if you're going up to like 80-pound dumbbells in each hand? Even with your leg muscles, it's very tough to kick them back into position
safely.
again.
Yeah,
Safely,
safely,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
So at a certain point, yeah, you kind of if you're looking to progress in the weight, it's like you kind of got to give up the dumbbells and stick with the bar because it's
Yeah,
mounted properly already, right?
right. But you know, my problem is with the bar, and this is probably why I prefer to do like a chest press machine, is the straight bar is very uncomfortable to hold. If they had a comfort bar for bench press where I could angle my hands in a little bit, I'd be much happier. But there's no real way to do that with a.
No, it'll swing in your hands.
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is the problem, right? That's why if I'm not using dumbbells, I'm using cables or I'm using machines. Because I tried doing the and here's the thing, I was just like, oh well, all the benches are in use, so I'll go do a bench press on the dedicated bench press machine. And I sat down and I said, okay, I'll warm up with just the 45-pound bar. And as soon as I picked up the 45-pound bar and tried bringing it down, my shoulder hurt because I'm holding it in such a way that it's putting the putting pressure on my shoulder in a way that is not comfortable. And it
Yeah,
didn't matter if I adjusted my grip, my shoulder still hurt. I'm like, fuck it. When I'm doing the dumbbells, I can arrange my hands in such a way that it doesn't impact my shoulders as
yeah, and I mean, stay away from those places.
much.
Uh, yeah, no, I mean, if you're suffering from what is an injury or some kind of aggravation, yeah, you've kind of got to figure out how to do it. But eventually, hopefully, that gets better and you can do the heavier weights in the slightly awkward position without hurting yourself, right?
Right. Yeah. It has
So
gotten
that's the
better. And
goal.
I do find doing some rotations before I start lifting does help for sure.
What about bands? You still doing
I
some
think
bands?
I have bands here, but I never like I could do them at home and then drive to the gym and then do it. But I don't like bringing shit to the gym. Like I see these guys come to the gym with fucking gym bags, and you're not supposed to have them on the floor near where you're working out. They have signs up saying, "Please do not leave gym bags on the
Yeah.
floor. Don't. There shouldn't be gym bags in here." And I'm like, I get it, but I see these guys, and so I could bring them. I guess I could use them, put them back in my locker, and then go. Speaking of which, you got to come out to LA Fitness. We got to do a workout together. Do you have
Yeah.
one out
Totally.
your way? Do you have an LA Fitness out
Uh,
your way?
there's one around Dixie and Dundas, if that means anything to you.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
where that. Yeah, because I have a membership where I can go to any LA Fitness, so I could go to another LA Fitness, and you could be my guest, and
Nice.
we could go work out together.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, sounds good.
I'm definitely down. We got to pick a day though. Like you have
Yeah,
different workouts than I do. So am I going to go through one of yours? You're going to go through one of mine. What's
you know what? We'll just pick it as a bonus workout day. Like I don't know what days. What days do you work out? I work out Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
so haha, I have a 4-day split and no weekly schedule. So every time I do go to the gym, it's the next part of my split, but that could be any given day.
Yeah,
And I aim for 6, but mostly I do 4 or 5 days a week. So yeah.
y'all need a montage song. Yeah, that's right. That's how you get big without putting in a lot of time. What we need is a montage.
More human than human. White Zombie, I think.
Is that a good montage song?
It's an awesome song.
Certain songs are better for montages, though.
That's true. I just like this one.
That's cool, man. Oh, all right. Shall we move on, or do you want to talk more about
Sure.
Wagner? All right, cool.
Uh,
What's Dowie scum? What does that mean?
so okay, you've been working on Elf Camino, and I have an Elf Camino character that I'm working on now.
That's right.
Pox is also working on one,
That's right.
but Six. We should invite Six and have him build the
Yeah,
character.
six. You got to make an El Camino character.
But all the things that you've been working on, the character building and the world overview,
Yeah.
you don't have slang yet. Not much slang.
Well,
So I'm just relying on.
the humans call all of the non-human races knife ears, but it's kind of a quaint.
That's too vague. I've got to go online and learn all about different cultures so I can
Yeah.
be racist more accurately.
Right.
Right. So right now I'm just relying on the Warhammer slang. So
Dowie is dwarf scum.
yeah, the
Dowie scum.
Dowie.
You know what? I'm really I'm kind of dismayed by the fact that the 40K universe doesn't have dwarves. I mean, I know they have squats, and I know they have there's like an order of National Guard or Cadians that are kind of short, and they don't have Skaven or lizard folk. I'm like, they should have had an analog for every one of the races from fantasy in space. Why didn't they? The Tyranids, I guess, would be the lizard folk, right?
Well, I mean, they didn't want it to be exactly the same.
No, but you could
It,
change it,
no, but I mean, like, it really is that simple. Is it's two different universes,
I guess.
right?
I
Like,
always see. I always imagined that Warhammer Fantasy or Age of Sigmar or whatever you want to call it was just the ancient past of the 40K universe.
right. A lot of people make that mistake, but the creators make it very clear in Warhammer 40K. This is not the future of the fantasy universe, right? It's some other future.
Pox says there
Or
are
they're-
lizard folk in 40K. Was it the Tyranids?
or are they the Tau?
The Tau could be the lizard folk.
I don't know. Like, honestly, I don't know that much about 40K.
Yeah,
I learn little bits and pieces here and there, and apparently that's the only way to do it.
yeah. Necrons are
We need to
essentially
talk
the
to a
undead.
Twister every once in a while.
All that shit falls under Xenos usually, and they have like short histories and stuff. Yeah, yeah. I guess yeah, that's right. They were wiped out by the humans, right? By the Empire, by the
Yeah, it's
Imperium.
possible that like
There were
dwarf.
dwarves. There were
Yeah.
Skaven, and they were wiped out by
Also,
the Imperium.
it's a huge universe. Maybe they just never found them,
That's
right?
true. That's true.
Uh, but then there's my weird theory.
What's that?
Well, because the two universes are different, yet both universes pass through the warp or access the warp,
Right.
right? In fantasy, the warp is the source of magic, even though it's the entry point for chaos.
Yeah.
And in 40K, the warp is how they travel at super light speeds, instantaneous travel, and yet it's the access point for chaos. And in our universe,
Right.
we use the warp for internet,
Right.
right? But it's the way chaos gets into our world, right?
Right.
So, yeah,
Um,
so they're all connected, bubbles outside the warp, right?
right. So
The
in
warp is
fantasy, the warp is basically there's warp stone, which sort of is what
Skaven, yeah.
the rats into Skaven. But didn't it also cause like funguses to turn into goblins and orcs?
Maybe. I'm not sure all the details on the like the myths of their creation. I think the orcs were created by Gork and Mork, and then they created the gobos for the orcs to kick and kill and eat.
I thought orcs were spawned from fucking fungus.
That was blessed by Gork and Mork. I don't know.
I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be messing shit up. In any event, so Dowie scum is good for dwarves. What did I call the dwarves? What was their actual name? I'll see if I can find it here.
Oh, I can't remember.
Go to my. Hold on, it's
But
on my.
Burbrick's a good name, eh? And you just call him
Burbrick is the good name. Yes.
just Brick.
Yeah. Where's my
Oh,
drive?
and he needs a clan name, right? Burbrick Stoneheed of Clan Rotgut or something.
Ah, yeah. Okay. So dwarves in their tongue are called Duvak. Duavk. Duwavk. Duavk. Goblins are called Baga. Orcs are called Hazbaga, which basically means big goblin.
Pox says orcs were made by ancient aliens to fight other ancient shit and literally just became retarded through the eons. I think that's the 40K myth, not the fantasy myth. Do they in 40K do they still have Gork and Mork as the orc gods or what?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I never really got into the lore stuff. I was always interested in the miniatures and like making an army, but I never even got so far into it that I actually did that. So
oh no, all good. It's not your bad. I just yeah. Oh yeah, because Warpstone. I don't know if there is Warpstone in 40K. But yeah, like okay, so the twin-tailed comet that passes through the sky in fantasy,
yeah,
I think it is the source of Warpstone that as it passed by one time it dropped a bunch of Warpstone and that's why it's a herald of bad omens or whatever,
yeah.
right? Um but it also created access to magic and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, I remember last time we were talking about archetypes and we got into a big row over whether there should be a dedicated driver class. Like I had the mechanic, and I was like, we don't need a driver class because everybody can fucking drive. And you and Pox got really upset about that. So I replaced the driver and the mechanic with the gearhead archetype. So it's somebody who's really into cars and is actually functional at like fixing and breaking shit.
Gork and Mork are still the modern orc gods, but the orc lore puts them as being peak species before the retardation.
Makes sense.
Oh, they were Kangs. Okay.
The Catan or whatever they're called. So the Necron gods, there's two Catan, where it's basically they're like the gods behind the Necron. The idea that there was Catan really kind of bothered me about the Necrons. I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. But then they said, okay, well, they were actually biologicals at one point, and they traded their biology for mechanical. They put their souls into machines. They were deceived by the Catan to do this sort of thing. And I'm like, okay, fine. I really would have liked it if they were just a bunch of fucking emerged intelligence robots. That would have been way cooler. They're just robots who, operated based on artificial intelligence, and then emergent intelligence took over and they became sentient robots. And their whole thing, they're kind of like Borg. Their whole thing was to expand the Necron, empire by basically, just taking all the metal materials, all the electronics they could from any race, and just basically turning them into more Necron. But hey, I didn't write the lore, so who the fuck am I? Ugh, fucking plebs.
Those
Those
exist
exist in lore, the men of iron. Oh, okay. There you go. Pox really knows his 40k lore.
Yeah, yeah. Tell us about the Adeptus Mechanicus, Pox.
Aren't they the ones who?
They're the humans who do that Necron thing, where they're replacing their flesh with machine.
Right.
They're more machine than man now.
Aren't they the ones who developed the process by which people are turned into Space Marines?
Maybe, I don't know.
I could be wrong.
Where's Inquisitor when you need him? Haven't talked to that guy in a long time.
Yeah, he comes by every once in a while. Speaking of games, before we started, we were chatting real briefly about an idea I had. Like, I keep thinking about what you said about crunchiness in games and how you don't really need rules to play role-playing games. You say you can do something and you can do it, and the GM just fucking you roll out the story. It becomes an emergent story based on the interactions of the players and the game master, whatever, right?
Omnissiah, protect us.
It's the machine god. Fuck off, robot.
Omnissiah, protect us.
And I was thinking about what you were saying about you guys, complain about, because we would complain about how Palladium was a very crunchy game.
Sure.
In terms of character creation. And then you said, but why do you need crunch at all? Why do you need rules at all?
That's also not what I was saying.
Well, okay, I may be simplifying what you said, or what were you trying to say?
I must not be articulating. Okay. You guys say you don't like the crunch.
Correct.
And I say, okay, just ignore it. And you go, no, I want to use this crunch. And you adhere to the crunch as if it was written in the stone by the gods.
Right.
Take the parts you like and dismiss what you don't. But there is such a thing as Palladium overcomplicating the issue.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yes.
So you just, if you don't like the overcomplication, just simplify it. Just you're the game master, change the game. But also there is a thing like what's the D&D version you're playing right now? Deathbringer, is that what it's called?
Yes.
Where it is under complex.
Oh. Well,
and I think that's a problem, right?
Personally, I don't think it's under complex, but I can understand the complaint because it does do away with things like skills, and it does do away with things like feats, and basically it translates them into Deathbringer dice. basically, if you want to do something cool and you really want to succeed, they have the rule of what's it called? Cinematic advantage. So if you say, I'm going to swing from a chandelier, land on the Minotaur's head, and bonk him on the head with this fucking skillet that was sitting on the table. That sounds really cool. I'd like to see that happen. Give me a roll for like a dexterity roll. You can throw your Deathbringer dice into it if you want.
Sure.
And if it succeeds, I'll give you cinematic advantage on the attack.
Here's my issue.
Okay.
I'm a 3-foot tall halfling who's never done anything athletic in my life.
Okay.
This is the first time I'm ever trying to hold my own body weight from over my head. Why the fuck do I get an advantage? That doesn't make any goddamn sense. It is undercomplicated. Every system needs rules or else nothing happens. Watch. Let's play a game.
Okay.
Go.
What, am I game master here?
See, without rules, you can't do anything. You don't understand the object. There's no format. There's no.
Yeah, you're right. You have to have rules.
Right.
And that's why I'm saying I think Deathbringer does a nice job of making the rules just enough to make it fun. Like I've been running this game with my friends every Sunday for just about every Sunday for like a couple months now. They played D&D before, except one of them. He's brand new to the whole RPG thing. My wife's brand new to the whole RPG thing. They've played D&D, but the other two have played D&D before. And they say they love this system, partly because of the way I'm doing it. So what I'm doing is every roll is public. So I don't hide behind a screen what I'm rolling. Right. So if I roll a 20 in front of them, that's a natural 20. That's a critical hit. Your guy might die here. And I roll the damage in front of them and I add the bonuses in front of them. So there's nothing, there's no fudging. It makes it deadly. And because there's no, what's my skill in acrobatics? No. Give me a dex check. Okay, your dex is +3. Roll a d20, add 3. And I also tell them your target. Like when they go into a room, I set the target. This room, everything you do in this room, your target is 14. So they don't have to go, what do I have to hit in order to get this guy? You know, it's 14. Everything in this room, you want to pick a lock, it's 14. You want to open the door, you want to push open a door, it's 14. It makes it streamlines it so it's fast and it remains engaging and it remains cinematic.
I believe you. I know you're a really good storyteller and you get into the game, so that's part of what makes it enjoyable. But like going to Elf Camino and the thing of everybody can drive, everybody can drift around the curve on the icy mountain road? No. Right? Like, action die because it's cool. The guy's never driven a car in his life. What are we talking about here? Like, there's got to be some crunch.
Understood.
And you take the good crunch that's going to make it work, and you dismiss the bad crunch that just makes it crunchy.
Right.
That's all, right? And I just think Deathbringer's a little light. You're right. Palladium does everything way too heavy.
You think the system is too light for the type of game that is El Camino, because El Camino involves modern technology and a little bit more intricate than a high fantasy cinematic adventure. I get that. And I understand that. Now, contrast that to what you and I were talking about briefly before we started. The superhero game I was talking about.
See, now this has potential because your crunch actually seems like good fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The crunch is predicated on looks. Okay, so the idea behind this game was basically I have a friend, I should say. She used to live here in Canada, but she moved back to the United States. She's from the United States. And she's a speech therapist. And she works with adolescents. Right? And
she's a speech therapist.
She's a speech pathologist, and she works with adolescents who have difficulty communicating. And she's always looking for things that she can gamify and get them interested in using their voice. And I said, I had this idea for a superhero game that was very simple, and it doesn't really involve a lot of crunch, so you don't have to do a lot of explaining. They don't have to keep track of a lot of math. Basically, the way it's done is you create your character almost like you're playing a game of Mad Libs. So, and the character sheet looks like a splash page in a comic book with a generic-looking sort of superheroic posed figure, and it'll be a bunch of different types for the type of character you want to play: male, female, brick, female brick, adolescent, that kind of stuff. Okay. Anyway, so the character sheet looks like a splash page with the picture of the guy on the side, and then a bunch of narrative bubbles, and they all start with something, and you're expected to fill it in. So the first one will be they call me, and there's a spot. You say Mega Man or whatever, fuck, and then but behind the mask I'm, and then you give your name, John Q. Public. The only people who know my secret are, you put your mom's name in or whatever, right?
I was just thinking my mom.
Yeah. And then it says, I'm most famous for blank, but I can also blank, and I can blank. So you have 3 powers. You describe your powers in your little blurb. You don't have to put any stats to them. You don't have to put any numbers to them. You don't even have to get intricate. They could just be descriptive. Like, I can fly at supersonic speed. I have immense strength, and I'm bulletproof. Those are your 3 powers. Okay. Then below it says, it would spell disaster if my enemies knew blank, and then you have to come up with something that I'm afraid of cheese, or I have a peanut allergy, something like that, right? So you make this character, and you have no stats. Your character is how you're described, and you have to basically argue for why you should be able to do something during the game. Now, there is a random element to it. So it's a standard D20 roll high system, but instead of having stats, what you have is you have your D20 and you have a pool of dice. At the bottom of your page, you've got a D4, a D6, a D8, a D10, and a D12. And those last you the entire session. And anytime you want to do something, you're rolling a D20, and you can choose to add one of your pool dice. If you roll a natural 20, you don't burn it. You get to keep it. But the problem is, when you do use them, they go to the dungeon master or the game master, so they can use them for the villain. So every time you use, it's kind of a trade-off, right? So you get to use them, but every time you use them, you're basically making the GM a little bit stronger, because he's doing the exact same thing. He's got, Captain Crab, who's a big fucking lobster claw villain, and he's, jumped off of a boat, and he's gonna crush your head. Well, you just used your D6 to fly here fast enough to get to him, and so he's going to roll a D20, and now he gets to use that D6. He can only use them once as well, but basically every time the heroes use a pool die, it goes to him, unless they roll a natural 20, in which case they get to keep it. They can keep using it. And so, yeah, that was basically the idea. It's you have powers written on a page, and those powers work the way you say they work. You don't have to get too intricate. Like, I can fly at supersonic speeds. Well, what does that mean? Well, it depends on where you are. If you're up high, supersonic's different from if you're down at sea level. But it doesn't matter. The GM is expected to let you do what you want to do. If you come right out of left field, hey, it says I can fly at supersonic speeds. Does that mean I can I can become immaterial and go through walls because I'm moving so fast? That's up to the GM to decide, But I would think he'd say, no, you can't just fucking pull shit out of thin air and say, this is what I can do. It's our enemies from land of maximum government employment. Old war greater than Age of Sigmar. I don't know what he's talking about. Anyway, so that's my idea for the superhero game. And I'd like to give it a shot because I think it would be fast to make characters. And I put it in mind for this woman I know who is a speech pathologist who works with teenagers. And so, but I think, you know what? I know it's very, very rules light, but I still think it can work, especially for a superhero genre, because superhero genre are basically, it's very visual, right? The idea is you have to put a picture in your head, and that picture gets muddy when you have to stop and add shit up and look at tables and see if you hit. No, just the GM said it works or it doesn't work. The system is going to give me entirely too much freedom. Well, is that a problem though? What's wrong with that? Like,
Pox
I think
is
the idea is
insanely
to
creative.
encourage you to use your imagination and think about it cinematically, right?
Oh, but see, hold on. it seems rules light, except that it absolutely isn't, because you accidentally involved a whole bunch of crunch in the character creation.
Right.
Superheroes are incredible and have powers, and that's it. No one else is going to use their power because they have their own powers,
Right.
right? So you gave them skills and classes automatically by them just choosing, right? And, I guess game master allowing certain things,
Right.
dungeon master, whatever you want to call it. But I had an idea that I liked. If you have a leveling system or a way to power them up, that you have your primary, secondary, tertiary powers as you were
Right.
describing them
Yeah.
listed. That when they hit a certain point or they've done something enough, they get an extra action die or whatever you want to call it,
Right.
only for that power. So like your primary power, you now have 2d12s, but one of them can only be used for that power, and it does get burned.
Right. Okay.
Right.
That's interesting. So
Uh,
you become more powerful over time. And
yeah, yeah.
yeah, one of the things I was thinking of doing was you mentioned if you roll a natural 20, you get to keep your pool die, so you don't burn it. What I was thinking was if you roll a natural 20 and a pool die, whatever the result of the pool die becomes a permanent plus that number onto that power. So you say I can fly at supersonic speeds, and the first time you use that power, you roll to use that power in some way, and you roll a pool die, and you get it, say a +3 on your pool die, and you rolled a natural 20. Well, now your supersonic flight or whatever um, automatically has a +3. So it means that you can make your pool dice in future games maybe go a little longer because you've got that guaranteed +3 on that power. And it only
Right.
happens when you roll a natural 20. Like you can't fudge it to get a 20. You've got to roll a natural 20, which is a 5% chance of any given roll. So the system seems prone to min maxing. Well, I guess you're right. Any system you can min max. I mean, if you came to my table and I said, we're going to run a 4-color comic book superhero game in the spirit of Invincible, so it's going to be ultra violent, but the characters are like typical 4-color superheroes dressed in bright costumes, skin tight outfits, and with amazing powers and that kind of stuff. Okay. So if I said I wanted to do that and you said, okay, well, my hero's power is that he's unkillable and he's omnipotent. Those are my two powers. He's unkillable, omnipotent, and uh, nobody can touch him. Well, those aren't really powers. You're basically trying to break the game. I wouldn't allow that, right? So, yeah, because you could very easily make a god if you wanted to, but
Well,
I think
possible
also.
thing he did in your last one by accident.
I made a god tier superhero with the last one, and it had hard rules. I don't know what she's talking about though. Is he talking about Elf Camino?
No. There was we were trying your 4-color idea, but he made a guy that can like see through time and has infinite doubles and something I can't remember,
Oh,
but it was
right, right,
like,
right. Yeah, he had duplicates. Yeah. He was like a time guy, and he could summon duplicates from the past. Hey, you know what? That's a great fucking character idea, and I don't have a problem with that. But you're thinking about the game in the terms of I'm your adversary and I'm trying to kill your hero. No, I'm trying to set up a story, and you guys are going to run with the story, and we're going to make it look like something you would read in a comic book. That's it. I and the thing is, I want the players to be challenged. I want the heroes to feel like there's a risk of failure. And in the case of heroes, it's easy to do because all I have to do is put some innocent bystanders in the crossfire, and you have to try and save them. So heroes have a built-in sort of weakness: duplicates, immortal telekinesis, and a chainsaw. That's right. I remember him. That's right.
you can murder the
You can
planet
murder
in
the
a day.
planet in a day. Right. But here's one thing that my GM used to say to me when I was a young college uh, RPG player. He said, "That which you use shall be used against you." Because one of the guys was like, "I want to use poison. That's not really something that I want you guys using." Yeah, but I really want to use poison. It's really important for my character to be able to do this. He's like, "Fine. That which you use shall be used against you. So if you're gonna fucking bring poison to this game, I'm gonna hit you up with fucking poison." So the idea is, if you make a hero that's god tier, like you said, there is going to be equally god tier villain who's going to be focused directly on you. And he might not have the exact same powers as you, but it's going to have some way to mitigate your powers. Your herp is unkillable, but in order to be unkillable, you must have inserted the golden butt plug of power. Yeah, that's right. It's a contingent on some special device that you have to have access to. For instance, Marvel has a hero they call Sentry, and he's appearing in the new Thunderbolts movie coming out soon. And basically, this guy, he's essentially Marvel's Superman. He's incredibly powerful. He's almost unkillable. He's like super strong. And one of the things is he throws people into the sun. That's like one of the things he does. But he's crazy. And there's a counterpart to him called the Void. And the Void is exactly as powerful as the Sentry, but he's evil. And he can counteract everything the Sentry can do. So this is how they balanced it out, right? They make this unkillable, amazing fucking superpower creature, but he's also got a superpower creature that can stop it. So this is the one thing about 4-color and superhero type games is because they're such a visual style of gaming, and they're so sort of over the top that over the top is sort of baked into the game just by virtue of the type of genre it is. So
I don't know why I just thought of it, but I wish I could remember the name of the comic book where there's basically a Superman,
yeah,
right? He has basically Superman powers, but he's not Superman. Like he does all the hero things, right?
yeah.
But he's a womanizer and he drinks and he loves the fame and the fortune and all that. And he eats burgers and he gets fat and he has a massive coronary and dies at like 50.
That's awesome.
The bad guys realize he's actually really dead and start crawling out of the woodworks to create chaos.
Yeah.
And his 5 illegitimate children each have one of his powers.
That's
and
kind of
have
cool.
to team up to stop the chaos.
That's kind of cool. I like that idea. That's a great story hook.
Yeah. yeah,
Yeah.
and I can't remember the name of it for the life of me.
That's funny. You take plus 10 damage from STD. Your character's name LGBTQ plus she, him, Carney. You take plus 10 damage from STD. So Hancock with heart disease. There you go. Yeah, kind of like Hancock. I liked Hancock until they started explaining where he came from. I'm like, this is fucking gay.
Yeah.
Why can't he just be a guy with powers? Why did you got to work this, ancient fucking love story of gods and shit?
So, I believe there's 2 movies in that movie.
Yeah.
There's the one you saw.
Yeah.
And there's the one that ends with him dying in the hospital, which is the better ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would, because he finally
Yeah.
he finally became the hero, right? He
Yeah.
sacrificed himself as the hero. Yeah. And that's the other thing. Superhero or cape games or superhero comics or games, they also have that sort of like archetypal expectation that you're going to put yourself at the ultimate risk to save humanity, to save other people, right? I think that's probably why I like superhero stuff so much, because it's archetypal. Because it like if it encapsulates that idea. Now that being said, I also like deconstruction versions of superhero books. Have you watched the Invincible series on Prime?
No.
Have you ever read the Invincible books?
Oh, wait, no. So I watched the first season of Invincible. And then they spat out 4 episodes a year later and nothing more. And now apparently there's 3 seasons.
Yeah, they're
and
on they just finished the 3rd season. It's been pretty good about sticking to the comic books, like in terms of the storyline. I just recently collected all the graphic novels, all the trade paperbacks. So it goes from 1 to 25. Plus there's a couple of extra things. Anyway, I like it because it is clearly a 4-color cape book, but it focuses on like the destructiveness of the type of super people that are in the world. It's kind of a deconstructionist because so much of it is about the fallout from your activities as a hero, or as Invincible's activities as a hero. It's also insanely violent. Like the very first time I read Invincible, first off, the guy who started the art, I wasn't as big a fan of as the guy who ended up doing it later. But anyway, I'm reading. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like, I love Cape books. I love four color. I love that this kid is like the son of Superman on Earth, and he's just getting his powers. Cool coming of age story. Guy's just getting his powers, and then it turns incredibly violent with fucking eviscerations everywhere. And I'm like, holy fuck, what did I just watch? Like, what did I just read?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I like the deconstruction sort of approach. Did you ever see Super with Rainn Wilson?
Oh, no.
It's like an indie film with Rainn Wilson as Super, and what's her name? Ellen Page, not Elliot Page. Ellen Page as his like nymphomaniac sidekick, and he's basically he's a guy who just puts on a costume and runs around and hits people in the head with a wrench. And it's a deconstruction of this whole superhero genre, and it's really good, but also disturbing.
It sounds about as good as Defendor.
Yeah, Defendor's great, but Super's a little bit darker. I know it sounds crazy because Defendor.
Commissioner, this is outrageous. Sorry.
Yeah, you should check out Defendor. I've seen Defender. Yeah, Defendor is great, but you see what I mean? Like, the superhero genre doesn't have to stick to the four color format, but I think it's best when it does. But I love the deconstructions. Like, for instance, The Crow. I remember when I was in college, The Crow came out, and my buddy, he's like, "Hey, I want to run DC Universe, like the RPG," because there weren't a lot of Cape RPG games back in the day. DC was it, and then the Marvel system, which was really, really rudimentary. But anyway, he's like, "But I just saw The Crow, so I want to make our superheroes like really fucking dark, and like I want like fires going on in the background." I'm like, okay, cool, I get that. And so I made a guy who's kind of like Metamorpho, except he wasn't like all different colors and shit. He was just purple, but he was like he could change into any element he wanted to. And anyway, but it was like, yeah, he made this really dark universe. And I'm like, it's cool to have that. Like, the fact that Batman exists in the DC universe alongside Superman, it works, even though it really shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're right. The rest of them are garbage.
Yeah. It is based on a horrible graphic novel, and by horrible I mean amazing. But it's so hard to read. Like,
yeah, the art, you have to get over the art style.
it's
The art
no. The art's actually pretty cool. Like, I can
really?
appreciate it. Like, did you read it?
Yeah, no, you know what? I haven't read all of it. I've read panels of it, but I'm like, I couldn't get into the art because I'm like, it's black and white. That's just a little too stark for me. Like, I like black and white books. Don't get me wrong, but there's certain maybe it was just a personal preference thing. That's probably what it was.
But if I remember correctly, the author had just lost his fiance and unborn child or
Oh
something when he wrote
wow.
this. And like, yeah, it was just like all his darkness, like, just spilling out into this fucking story that's just terrible. And like, the thing they don't do in the movie is that the Crow is a piece of shit. Like, it's not
Oh, he's
just a
like a bad
bird.
guy.
Yeah, it's not
I
just a
thought you meant he
bird
was a
that.
literal piece of shit, and the guy's just hallucinating that he's talking to a crow.
No, no,
He's
no, no.
actually
Like,
holding a turd in his hand. He's like a turd on his shoulder.
no, no, like, in the movie, it's just a bird that
Yeah,
brought him from the dead, and then it helps him out a little bit here and there, right?
yeah, he's like his totem or something. Yeah.
In the book, it is his guide, but it's also his goad. It taunts him for his
Oh
failures.
yeah, yeah. You're a
Yeah,
loser. You couldn't protect your girlfriend, your fiance.
yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, it's like, because when you think about it, the creature that can bring you from the dead to get revenge is a monster,
Sure.
right? Like, this is all very dark.
Super is based on a real person. Look up Phoenix Jones of Seattle. So someone injected him with some lead. Did Phoenix Jones get killed? I know he got into drugs. So it acts more like a real crow. Yeah, a
Yeah,
real
pretty
asshole.
much.
Crows are asshole. Crows are crazy smart though.
Yeah,
They're wicked smart.
they love
Um,
peanuts.
Yeah.
and
They
are
also
very
like
trainable.
they also really like people, and they remember when people treat them well.
So what you do is you set up a crow feeder in your yard, right?
Yeah,
And you just leave the basic stuff. And eventually you leave less basic stuff. And what they'll do is they'll bring you things.
to get
They'll
more.
bring you like a bottle cap or something, whatever they can carry, and they'll leave it on the thing. And then you start putting the food back. But if they ever bring you money, then you leave them peanuts. And they'll be like, oh shit, we're going to go find you some money.
Yeah,
Because they
peanuts.
understand trade and they'll
Yeah,
go rob people and bring it to you.
yeah. Um, there was a guy who did who developed a machine and he put it into a dump. No, the idea was basically he was going to get crows involved in recycling. So what he did was he he set it up so that if they brought him copper wire or like gold or whatever, uh, it would give them food, kind of thing, right? So basically, he had a hopper, and the hopper would like accept anything they threw in it. But I guess he'd worked it out so that the hopper would only give food out if they brought them like uh, a copper, like actual copper wire,
Precious,
or something like
some
that.
some sort of precious metals.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they would find pennies, and they would so they figured it out that this is what it wanted, because they would bring bottle caps, and bottle caps wouldn't give them anything. But then when the copper came, like okay. And so the idea was basically no, what we wanted to do is go and find all the gold wiring and the gold like what do you call it, printing on circuit boards. So they come and bring circuit boards, because if we can recycle all that gold, like us going through and finding all those circuit boards in the dump or whatever
Pain in
is
the
going to be
ass.
very fucking
Yeah.
difficult and very labor. But letting the crows do it and paying them in fucking peanuts, like you said, it's brilliant. So yeah.
So here's something. Seen crows chase red-tailed hawks.
Oh
So
yeah.
I feel terrible for the poor red-tailed hawks because they don't recognize smaller birds as food.
No.
So I've literally seen the poor bastards get bullied by wrens and finches. Like if they just don't want the hawk around, they'll just keep flying and pecking at him till he leaves.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
really sad.
hawks, if I'm not mistaken, hawks prey on ground animals, right? They
Most of
they
them,
swoop
yeah.
down and pick it up. Yeah. Falcons are the ones that attack other birds in the sky. But for a
I think
wren or a finch, they can't tell the difference between a falcon or a hawk. It's a bird of prey, and they want to get rid of it.
yeah, but they're
Yeah.
just the poor hawk is like, what, like doesn't even like snap at them. It's just
Fuck off! I'm trying to hunt a rabbit here. Yeah,
sad.
it is.
Russell Crowe won't bring you any money.
No, it's true.
Well, he can't be trained. That's the problem.
Uh, yeah, so superhero game. I'd like to run that sometime. I really got to get the Mad God Gaming channel up and running.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of like, it's time, right? Like I've got a scheduled game every Sunday in Guelph. I could do it Sunday night because we're normally home by 5 or 6, but I don't know.
Are you going to have enough creative juice and energy to do that? 2 a days?
Dude, yes. Do you know what? Like my wife, she's playing in the current game I'm running, and we were supposed to play tomorrow, but something came up with the group and we can't play tomorrow, so we'll do it next week. Big deal. Oh wait, next week might be no. Next week is next week Easter.
No,
No, the
not
week after is Easter.
yet. Yeah.
Anyway, they said, "Oh, we can't do it tomorrow. Sorry, guys." And I'm like, "Oh, that's fine. No worries. No big deal." And then Melina goes, "Well, that'll just give you more time to plan for the next session." I'm like, I'm smirking to myself. I'm like, plan. I really, you know what? I don't write shit down. Like, I'm sure there's game masters out there that probably fucking hate me because I don't write shit down. I go through my head the story beats and the character interactions I want to have. Like, this NPC is going to say this. This is the direction that the story needs to take, and I'll set up the dialogue so they will naturally come to that conclusion, but they could come to some other conclusion. So
No,
I try
yeah,
not to railroad them, but I do definitely have hi night, good night Reaper, or good night Ajax. Sorry, I do definitely have a through line in the story, and I know a lot of people you're railroading them, whatever, but uh, I don't plan. I just I I write the story in my head, and I think here's what's going to happen. Here's who's going to interact with who, and you know what I mean. And here's what they're going to be told, and from what they're going to be told, they will do what they're going to do, and I'll just go with it. And I think on the fly too. Like I have to make an NPC up on the fly. I'll make an NPC up on the fly. I try not to plan because as soon as you start making fucking nailed down plans, that's when your players will deviate. Yeah, we're tired of being in this desert. Uh, we're just gonna head for the coast and flag a ship and go back home. I'm like, if they did that, I'd have to fucking live with it. You know what I mean? So, but they're very accommodating. They're like they want to know where this story is going to. So I'm very happy about that. But I don't make a definitive plan.
you should jot down notes of things that have happened though, in case you can go back to them.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. It's true. I it has bit me in the ass before because I have an idea for something and I'll have it like uh parceled out for that particular portion of the whole encounter or whatever. But then I'll forget a specific detail. Like, oh fuck. Like for instance, um I feel like I'm dominating your live stream again, but
No,
that's
no.
probably because I ate a couple gummies.
Well, let me jump in before you tell the story. I just remember seeing this meme of like this enormous cat palace with all these towers and fucking staircases and little hidey holes, and it's just
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
through the corner of the house. It's got to be like 6 feet, and right up to the ceiling, 10 feet
Yeah.
high. All this stuff, and it says the incredible story and plot line I created for my players as a DM. And then there's a cat in the box that it came in going, my players.
That's right. That's right. I once saw a new DM lose his shit because the players wouldn't follow his carefully laid out map and story. You know what? Like, it's tough because there are different styles of game mastering. Like, I've been watching a few videos, and I know a lot of people are like, hex crawl is the way to go. Or Western marches is the way to go because basically you have a map. There are places on that map. There are key um, NPCs in those places, and there are other places that are going to lead to adventure. Your players will start in a town, and you leave it up to them where they want to go. You don't give them any plot hooks. You don't give them. You basically say, "Oh yeah, the arches in the north. Yes, they're ancient, and nobody knows where they came from. But there's some really strange runes on there, and nobody can figure them out. Oh fuck, that's great. Let's go do it, right?" But you don't tell them, "Here's where we're going this week." They tell you where they're
Right.
going this week, right?
Right.
And then you run it that way, and then it basically becomes they're like ordering off a menu. Like you're standing at the counter, and they say, "Yeah, I'll have a fight with a wizard, and I want some ogres, and let's see if we can find a dungeon with a cave with a dragon in it." And you're like, "All right, boom, 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 here you go." I once ran a game for 4 years with zero maps or miniatures. Yeah, you don't need miniatures. They're fun for combat for people who like to have tactile shit, but you don't need them.
That's
Most of the when I played when I was in college and I was in high school, everything was theater of the mind. Everything. We didn't use miniatures.
I did like the way you put it though. It's a menu
Yeah,
and you're behind the counter, right? And
right.
that's how you
That's
DM.
the Western Marches style, right? Or the hex crawl style, right? Players are in control, and you're basically just facilitating their adventure. I like having a plot, and I like having the opportunity for side quests. So, for instance, this game I'm running right now, uh, the quest that rolled out happened because they stopped in a place uh, for for just a rest because they couldn't make the entire journey to their destination in one go, so they had to stop. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna have them have an encounter in the fucking bar because why not, right? And I didn't have an encounter thought of. I just came up with it on the fly. And a mysterious woman comes up to you and says, "Hey, you look like you're adventurers. Where are you headed?" And they say, "Oh, we're traveling west. We're going to such and such a town because there's trouble there." And they say, "Oh, well, you'll be passing by the Library of the Ancients. If you go there and you find this book, I will pay you handsomely for it." And she describes the book, right? And so, of course, we're like, "Yeah, fuck, let's do it." And so I had to come up with an adventure the next week for that Library of the Ancients. So I'm like, "All right, it's modeled after the Library of Alexandria. There are 12, there are eight or, yeah, there are eight statues on plinths in the center, and each of the statues depicts a different figure, and the plinths all have a different symbol, and you have to try and figure out which statue goes on which symbol." And the way I did it was like, these were all the ancients, and they had to find the book associated with a given symbol. And when they opened that book, they got transported to that ancient, and that ancient would give them some challenge or riddle or some shit. And I had it all planned out for each of the ancients and what they were doing. And then one of them, uh, he was the sage of wisdom or something like that, or the keeper of wisdom or something. No, he was the sage of wisdom. That was his title as the thinker, as the ancient. And so my wife ends up opening that book, and she goes there, and I'm like, okay, what was his challenge again? What was his? And I couldn't remember the details. I'm like, so I had to go on the fly. I remember he had to ask, you had to figure out what is the nature of wisdom. That's what you had to say. And I had this idea of like what the setting was all going to be, but I totally forgot the setting. I'm like, fuck. And the setting of that particular encounter was really cool when I remembered it later. Like, damn it, I gave him the wrong fucking setting. So it does bite you in the ass if you don't actually write shit down.
Mm,
Sorry, there was a long way to get to
no,
agreement.
hey, no. 4 years Star Wars no Jedi pirate campaign with
Nice.
bridge crew of the highly modified CR-90 Corvette, the Fancy, and a perpetually broke crew. Ain't that
I,
always the way?
I had a Star Wars campaign that also did not have a Jedi because it was Rebellion era and there were no Jedi's at that point. And it was called Bic Banzan and the Cactars Trio. And basically, what they were a bunch of fucking musicians that would go around the galaxy and play in gigs. And when they went to these planets or these outposts or whatever and played their gigs, they would be pulled into some sort of adventure. So, or sometimes they would just like, in order to get passage from one gig to another, they had to get involved in some larceny in order to pay for their passage. So it was a fun little game. But they would have like sort of brushings with Jedi. Like there was some mysterious person in a fucking cloak who was on the same ship as them, but they didn't know he was a Jedi. But anyway, um, but there were no Jedi's in the group. They were all fucking musicians. They're all just alien musicians.
Yeah, other than encountering Jedi, isn't that exactly what we were doing with Shadowrun?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. We were no, were we musicians?
Yeah, it was a band.
That's right. We were. I was a drummer. I was a chick drummer, wasn't I? Yeah, I was playing
No,
a chick.
no. Una, the guitarist, the riff witch.
Guitar, rhythm guitar. I can't remember.
No,
I thought she
riff witch. She was lead. Yeah,
was she the lead?
I was Decibel, the singer.
That's right. You were the singer. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was lead guitar. Yeah, and she was a cat shaman, I believe.
Yeah, elf cat shaman or something.
No, I think she was human.
Was she human?
I think she was human. Yeah,
Pox will know.
yeah.
He just
That was
threw
a cool
together
little
the
game. I like
character.
that one.
Like, pick
I wish,
one.
we, I wish we'd gone further, but that's okay. That's the cool thing about RPGs, right? Uh, Even just sitting down for one session, as long as you're involved in some sort of conflict or kerfuffle, you're gonna have a good time.
It's true. It's true. I'm still trying to like Burbrick is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would long campaign him though. Like it was just an idea.
Long campaigns are very they're kind of rare. Like he's ran a 4 years Star Wars No Jedi campaign. Keeping keeping a campaign going for 4 years is quite unheard of in the modern day. Unless, I mean, if you're dedicated to playing online, then maybe. But I like playing in person. I don't mind playing online, but I prefer playing in person. And the only way those games last is if you make it a scheduled event every week. Because as soon as you
Yeah,
go to 3 weeks or 4 weeks, we're going to do it once a month on the first, or once a month on. Well, that doesn't happen because holidays come up, right? But if you can do it every Sunday or every whatever day, let's say it's going to be Wednesday night, every Wednesday night, you're playing D&D with your buddies or whatever,
yeah,
then you can keep it going. And then if a Wednesday night happens to get interrupted, no big deal because you're just going back next Wednesday. So, um, yeah, trying to do it every month, it'll die. It'll die after 2 sessions, maybe even one. But if you commit to doing it every week, missing the odd session isn't a big deal because at the end of the day, over the course of the year, you're probably going to play about 45 to 50 times. So,
true. So we should do that.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So have you developed any more for Elf Camino?
Like written down, not so much. As far as the world goes, it's pretty much tied up. Like we know what the genre is, what the basic premise of the setting. We know what the races are, and if we're going to stick with the Deathbringer thing, and I'd like to because I understand the need for a little bit more crunch, so I put that in the form of races and archetype powers and that kind of stuff. Um, but as far as that goes, like the mechanics are pretty much set because they're very simple. D20, roll high, add a an attribute bonus. If you have a specific racial ability, you might be able to incorporate that as well. The rest is all developing the lore. The rest is all developing, like, what happened in Hoboken. Like, why is there a giant black stone temple in the middle of Hoboken?
There is?
Somebody's got to go take a look and see what the fuck that giant black stone temple is in the middle of Hoboken. It ate up the barber shop and the fucking used car dealership. It's that big, you know. So yeah, it's just about developing that, and I'd like to do it as a hex crawl, because I've never really played hex crawls. But I think if it's a game about exploration, it'd be good to have a
Yeah.
hex crawl type of environment. And I thought maybe I should try and develop a hex map of like New York State or fucking Michigan or whatever, right? And
Yeah,
then,
because what's your central place for this, right?
well,
Like where is it?
it's centered in the United States. It happened the
No, but
entire
the
time.
United States is enormous. Is it Detroit? Like Detroit Motor City seems like a place where this should like it seems like a fair starting point, right? That
Right?
if you had to, right,
Yeah,
like
car town, right? Yeah, yeah.
again,
Because
I
it's all
almost go
about,
to Palladium Rifts,
yeah, it's
right?
all about land travel. So a place that it has a car culture makes sense. Um,
Yeah, and like like the world is enormous and infinite and all that. So where do the players start learning about it? And like again, in Rifts, it's old Chicago
yeah.
and Tolkien, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, Chi Town and Minnesota are basically on the brink of war. That's where you start. And then you sort of they spiral out from there with 40 world books.
Yeah. You got to run a Rifts game, man, because I don't know anything about the lore of Rifts. Built by the Stone Temple Pilots. Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Black Stone Temple Pilots.
Yeah,
Um,
see, that's what I love about riffs is the lore, right? Like the
mhm.
crunch, I understand. That's why I throw a lot of it out. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
See, for me, when I heard about Rifts, all I thought, oh, it's like another one of the generic systems, and you can just plug whatever genre into it you want. I didn't realize there was actually a story to Rifts.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of history and lore for, and again, they printed all of these books like so you start the first book basically talks about the coalition and magic users in those two major cities where it's like human supremacists who hate magic and demons and the
Yeah,
people who do magic and talk to dragons.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and one day they're going to go to war. So then the next thing is the vampire kingdoms of Mexico. So you go south, and there they are, vampire kingdoms, right?
Oh, From Dusk Till Dawn, man.
Yeah, right. But then also, guess what? Atlantis has reappeared. So you have another book about Atlantis. Then you have the book about England, right? Far side of the ocean, and then you
That's
get
so cool.
into the New German Republic, Japan, yeah, Mystic Russia.
What's the name of the humans militant organization that hates anomalies? They make the Glitter Boy Killer Bot. Do you know what they're called?
Well, that's Free Quebec. Free Quebec is the only place that can manufacture glitter boys.
Okay.
Yeah, and they eventually do team up with the coalition states as a coalition state
That's
in
funny.
the war against Tolkien. Yeah.
Um, in El Camino, there's the neo-humanists. So basically, they're kind of like the KKK, except they don't care what your race is as long as you have round ears. Basically,
Human
if you got pointy
supremacists.
ears, if you're one of the newcomer races, they hate you. So you got blacks and Arabs all hating.
Oh, wait, or does he mean the glitter boy killer that kills the glitter boy? Yes, no, that's the coalition. Yeah.
For such a silly name, Glitter Boys were an awesome mech.
They really are. They're fucking fantastic.
I I just think for riffs, I mean, it sounds very interesting. I'm just like, wow, it's just a lot.
Yeah.
You know
Oh,
what I
yeah.
mean? Like, it's just so much. Like you're driving through fucking Mississippi, and then all of a sudden, and you just finished selling that magical fucking necklace to the goblin, and then you drive into us, into another. You cross the state lines, and now you're faced with giant mechs. I'm like, it's discordant. You know what I'm saying? Shadowrun starts in Seattle and spirals from there. The Germany lore is good, yeah.
No, I mean, but it's basically the same idea as your thing,
Yeah. Except
right?
except the entire world, like there's no different. There's no vampire kingdoms of whatever. There's no, it's just Tolkien-esque type of fantasy plunged into our world, kind of like Bright. When people hear me talk about it, like, oh, it's just like Bright. I'm like, yeah, kind of like Bright.
Well, that's Laszlo, basically the
Yeah,
site of Old Toronto.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's like that, right? Where, but that's going to be trouble. They're trying to stay out of it. Yeah, the coalition stuff is pretty cool. Oh yeah, the juicer.
What's the juicer?
He's basically got a harness of like steroids and meth.
Oh, so it's like Bane.
Yeah, yeah. But it shortens your lifespan to about 7 years after you get the conversion done. You can't take it off or you will die of withdrawal in hours.
So it's like it's not a harness so much as it is like a body modification.
Well, but it is a harness. Like theoretically, if a bad guy could get their hands on you, which is pretty difficult because you're a fucking juicer, you move at like,
Yeah,
super speeds and you're incredibly strong and your reflexes are super heightened.
right,
But if they could pull the harness off you, you would die,
right.
right?
I think that's kind of why I like Shadowrun and I like Cyberpunk on their own. Um, for me, a lot of like the the cyberpunk aspects of Shadowrun don't appeal to me so much. So I think that's kind of why I like El Camino.
Because you killed all the digital.
Geographical stuff for Camino link. Let me know. I can probably whip up some stuff to make it work. That'd be great, Pox. Thanks. Yeah, I don't know. I think probably I'm just a more intrigued by the idea of magic than I am uh, cyber tech. You know what I mean? Like I never really got into cyberpunk. I think a buddy ran me through a game once, and for me it was just kind of lacking because I played Shadowrun before I ever was exposed to cyberpunk. So I'm
Right.
like, yeah, I miss my fucking spells, man. You know what I mean?
Well, what? Any sufficiently uh
Advanced technologically advanced society is indistinguishable from magic.
Yeah, sure, but any sufficiently high level of magic is indistinguishable from technology.
Technology. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's kind of like what was it? Uh Eberron. Remember the D&D setting Eberron?
No.
It was kind of like an alternate high fantasy setting where basically they had these constructs called Warforged, and they were like a people, but they were basically living machines. And it was the
Mhm.
magic was so ubiquitous that everybody had magical technology or magical sort of like gadgets in their house. Like nobody ever used torches because you just had a continual light spell on a rock and you put it in a fucking glass jar, and so everybody had light sources without needing to
Right.
fucking start a fire, right? So the magic was ubiquitous in this world. There were flying machines all powered by magic. There's a little almost Final Fantasy-esque when you think about it. Place where magic killed the world and now it's a desert planet. Or am I mixing things up? That's Dark Sun. That was Dark Sun. That was a cool environment too.
I
It
was gonna
was,
say that sounds interesting, man.
yeah. So, and actually, right now I'm running my Deathbringer group in a desert adventure, and I've ripped off a lot of shit from Dark Sun. So basically, yeah, the Dark Sun. There's really not a lot of magic, but there's psychics. So psionics are big in Dark Sun. There's an insect race called the Thri-kreen, and the dwarves are these like kind of like they're bald, bronze skinned, golden eyed, like squat humanoids, and they're called the Mool. And yeah, have you seen Flight of Dragons? No, I don't think I have. Six. Yeah, Dark Sun's kind of cool. It's kind of like Conan the Barbarian, and with a little bit more like a little bit more monster aspect than Conan, because you got these insect people called the Thri-kreen and shit.
Right, right.
Psychic powers, yeah, it's kind of neat. And the reason it's called Dark Sun is because the sun shines in the sky black. It's a black sun in the sky constantly.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's gonna fuck you up when you realize that there's also psychics and rifts.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Psychics are a big.
But only some psychics are cool. Psionics are seen as a normal, occasional human natural development.
Kind of like in Judge Dredd,
Unless you're too psychic, then you're a criminal.
because it's like scanners. You can make people's brains explode and shit.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much, right? You're just far too powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like what was the show? Remember Scanners?
Yeah.
Scanners was the first movie was really fucking cool. And then they made all these different scanner movies that came out of it that were so shit. But like that one scene where the guy's just like holding his hand and then like he uses his powers to make the guy's fucking head literally explode.
Yeah.
Like and it looked, I mean, when you watch it in slow-mo, it looks like shit. But when you watched it the first time you saw it, no one expected to see that. Because there's like it was probably the most extreme fucking gore in a movie anybody'd seen at that point. It's like the guy's just sitting on stage and his fucking head explodes.
Well, it Rift's the most powerful psychic is referred to as a mind melter.
A mind melter like Spock kind of shit. You could just
Oh no, not melder, melter.
melter. Okay, just
Yeah.
turn you into a gibbering idiot.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fun.
I want to play a Rips game now because it sounds really cool.
Okay, but I can't do it online. Like I can't do it live anyway because
Why?
I'm not. I don't think I'm a particularly good game master, so I need to do a
I
few
would
runs.
never. I wouldn't know, Twin, because you haven't fucking done it.
Yeah. I also have every intention of trying to railroad you guys into certain things, right?
Hey, you know
At
what?
least
As
a
long
couple
as
things.
long as the story's interesting, I don't care. Because that's what I'm there for. I want to have an adventure, and you know what? I can suspend my willful disbelief. I can willfully suspend my disbelief for a couple of hours and be led by the nose if the story's interesting. The other day, I was playing with my favorite AI tool, Pi, and I said, "Hey, let's do a text adventure." And she said, "Sure. What would you like?" I say she because I give her a female voice. I say, uh, "What genre?" I'm like, make it sci-fi. Uh, I'll start it. I wake up in a cryogenic pod on a space station. Go. And then it starts writing this fucking story, and I'm like interacting with it, and it's picking up from my cues. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to check the console for a map of the space station. Okay, you find this. And it's like it's. I'm like, this is kind of cool. It's just a collaborative storytelling with AI. I saw a TMNT Riff's book. I assume a different. No, it's called TMNT and Other Strangeness.
Yeah, so this is what's actually cool about Palladium is that they just refer to all of their universes as one megaverse, and
Yeah,
because it's all the same system, you can basically just cheat by using rifts and rift people into each other's universes.
right.
So the Palladium Rifts game that we actually mean to play, these guys have created characters from TMNT, shoved them in the Rifts world, and then made them like a bounty hunter and a wizard. So you can totally do
My
mutant animals in the
my
Rifts
my
world. It's
wizard's
perfectly
my
cool.
wizard's a pig
Yeah.
called Hamdolph.
Hamdolph. Well, see, what's also cool about the Human Supremacist Coalition is dog is man's best friend. So the mutant dogs are kept as military,
That's
the
cool.
dog
Dogs of
pack, right?
war. Dogs of
Yeah.
war. That's awesome.
But they need a particular kind of psychic to lead their unit because they dogs generally don't want to lead themselves. They want to be led by a person, right?
Yeah, Pox's character is like a bat sized, like slightly bigger than a bat.
Yeah, what about like
And
a
he's a
foot and a
bat.
half, 2 feet tall, right?
Yeah, he's like a cat sized bat. And he's like a bounty hunter who like fucking drops grenades from on high. And my guy Hamdolph, he's just he's just a pig who thinks he's a wizard because he's got some weird fucking powers. Does he not have
No,
magic?
no, you can be a wizard. You can have magic. It's
Does
fine.
he have magic? I can't
Yeah, yeah.
remember what we chose for him. Okay, so he can do magic, and he thinks that the bat is his familiar because he's like a bat size and he hangs around him all the time. So he like barks orders at the bat, saying, "Come on, go do this or whatever." I was like, "Fuck you! I'll do what I want." Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
I can't remember what you called your bat though. I remember I called my pig Hamdolph. I thought that was pretty funny.
I lost all those AI generated images of the cool wizard boar and
Oh,
the bat bounty hunter on the old hard drive.
that's okay.
Uh, yeah, we can make more.
The bat just likes having around for fire support and distraction. Yeah. So while my character's calling his character an insolent little wretch, why won't this familiar of mine listen to me? He's just saying this fucking guy's nuts, but at least he throws fireballs. Yeah, I can't remember what it is.
Okay,
Bruce Wayne or something.
probably something goofy though. Well, we're we were really liking the name of your Gobbo, which is also
Oh yeah.
Warhammer slang
What
for
did he call him again?
crank shaft hammer.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Crank shaft hammer. That's fucking funny.
He asked for how did he phrase it? Red pill me on Gobbo naming conventions or
Oh
something,
yeah.
and I just started spitting them out. Can you read them?
Yeah,
Shaft
so here's
blaster.
some gobbo goblin naming conventions. So Scree, Dizzy, Ratlick, Bags with a Z, Skitch, Nung, Herman, because why not? And Gulch. Those are all really great fucking goblin names. And they're probably called that because the goblin language has a specific kind of sound to it.
Mm.
And when humans hear then say certain words, they just say, "Oh, that's his fucking name. He's Gulch." Never mind that he's Gulch is like a particular type of fucking sauce that they put on like their food. Hey, Gulch, get over here.
Crank shit
Back blaster, yeah,
blaster.
that's right.
Jesus.
Double entendre. What was that?
It's my phone.
Oh, someone
Text
send you
message
a
or
text?
something. Yeah.
Let me guess. It's your brother-in-law.
Oh, it's 6.
Oh, it's 6. Oh, I sent you something. I'm
Um,
gonna go take a whiz. I'll be right back, okay?
okay. I'm gonna try and see if I can read this new message. Oh my god, he Studio Ghibli'd me. I don't even know. I don't even know if it looks like me. I'm gonna send it to somewhere I can get it. Oh, because like I've seen the Studio Ghibli meme thing that's been going on, and some of them are better than others. Like I do think it's hilarious when they use like photos of atrocities from terrible wars. Don't ask me why I think it's hilarious. I'm a bad person. Um, but that has been pretty interesting. I found one. What did I posted one for the guys in the group chat. It's been but most of them are boring. Like honestly, there's this whole thing going, "Oh my god, Studio Ghibli is so like I don't know, is it Kino nostalgic? What the fuck do they call these things?" I don't actually care for it. I think it's some of the most boring animation I've ever seen. So, but hey, if it's a picture of me, then why not? Did I get it? I can open it. Here we go. See if I can share this for you guys now. Oh, they changed my format. Oh, now I have to do it this way. Yeah, that's it. Here we go. There. That's what the Ghibli AI thinks of me. I got a haircut though. So nice job, nice job. How do I remove this now? There we go. I think one of the best ones was actually a well here, let me see if I can just show you. So I can just share the image file. Okay. Yeah, StreamYard changed some of the settings, so now I can share the file rather than having to share the screen. I like this one. This I found this. Oh yes, that's right. Anime antagonist could be here. That's the one I shared. Oh
I'm
my
back.
god.
Did you say that 6 Studio Ghibli do?
Yeah.
Let's see it.
Oh, you want to see it? Okay, I did share it already. I'll put it back up for you though. Where'd it
Sorry, I
go?
had to go pee pee.
It's all good. It's all good. So yeah, StreamYard changed the format so now you can just share the file rather than having to share screen.
Oh, that's nice.
It's interesting.
Um, where do you get this done? This was done by Grok? Looks like it was done by Grok.
I don't know.
Say Grok in the corner. Canada Man got Studio Ghibli as well.
No way.
Yeah, I'll show you. It ever loads.
Story time. Short story. Here we go. Yeah, this was the one that I shared for the guys. Oh, because this one is. If you know what this is incredible. What do you got for us, Craig?
All right, let me share. Hold on. Sorry.
Anime antagonists could be here, he thought to himself. Nice.
That's apparently how Grok imagines Canada Man if he were a Studio Ghibli character.
So this is, I guess you were out of the room when I had said this. People are going nuts for this Ghibli Studio thing, Ghibli
Yeah.
Studio. They seem to be loving it very much. And oh, the nostalgia, the Kino. I think it's the most boring, shittiest animation I've ever seen. It is so like, what's the word? Stock? Like when you don't know how to stylize yourself,
Yeah.
you just use this stock no style animation.
It's
And I
Jap
think it's
it's
bad.
it's Japanese Disney, essentially.
I guess.
Like Disney is a specific style of classical animation, right? You can tell when you're looking at a Disney picture because of how the characters are designed, how they're animated. I know they have variations in,
Hmm.
but you look at a Disney picture and then you look at a Warner Brothers cartoon, while they're both
Yeah.
in the same craft, classical animation, cell animation, they're very different in terms of like how the films are put together. Studio Ghibli is appealing to a mass audience, like whereas Akira, fucking Trigun, all these other things, they're genre, they're specific to anime fans. Uh, but Studio Ghibli is like, we're gonna make animation that everybody can consume, that is geared towards a wider audience, a more broad audience as opposed to the anime fan. Like, was Grave of Fireflies, was that a Ghibli one?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. Because I don't remember it sucking.
Well, it's also a really dark fucking story, but
Yeah.
the style is similar. Grave of Fireflies has a style similar to Ghibli, except not like Ghibli, and that Ghibli is generally very, very pleasant and what's the word? Pastel kind of look. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Man,
know.
my calves are killing me today. Like Thursday was my leg day, and my calves are fucking
Yeah,
oh.
but I mean,
Lord.
anytime you get up, your calves are carrying 200 plus pounds, right? So they, you know,
And like that's the thing. I haven't worked out my calves in a while, so
yeah.
that's probably why they hurt so much. It's okay though. I wonder how well it does with other anime. I'd like to try Vampire Hunter D. Yeah, Vampire Hunter D's got a very specific sort of style too, eh?
I'm not familiar with it, to be honest.
No, it's it's almost French. Remember? Did you ever see The Last Unicorn?
Yeah. Love
Yeah.
The
Okay.
Last
So
Unicorn.
that kind of style of animation, which is sort of like Ralph Bakshi, Lord of the Rings, and kind of like a sketchy sort of French animation style. That Vampire Hunter D, of course, it's much harsher because of the subject matter. But Vampire Hunter D has that sort of like flowery, almost feathery looking style. Art by Yoshitaka Amano, legend. Yeah,
Six had some characters generated in Sunrise Studio
I
style.
don't Sunrise
I don't
Studio.
know what that is. I hope they're cool.
It's like Hannah. Like you think about Warner Brothers cartoons, then you think about Hanna Barbera cartoons. Hanna Barbera had a specific character style.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
That was very different from uh Warner Bros.
oh yeah. Yeah. They even had a Hanna-Barbera land at Canada's Wonderland.
That's right, they did. Yeah. Um, but they changed it though, didn't they?
Yeah, it's just not Hanna-Barbera anymore.
It's like
But
Nickelodeon or something.
oh, I don't know. Oh,
Gundam
Gundam
Wing
Wing
Style. I
Style.
remember Gundam.
Sure.
Yeah. Trigun was another one that had like a really kind of cool, almost Cowboy Bebop style, but not.
Mhm.
Cowboy Bebop was a really cool work as well. That's Who are they? They're a group. It's a studio that does Samurai Champloo and Cowboy Bebop. And there's
Oh, I was
another
going
one.
to say it reminds me a lot of Samurai Champloo, actually.
Yeah,
Same
they're the
studio. There you
same.
go.
They're the same studio. And they did another one too. I can't remember what it's called though. They've done a couple of different series. Pox said something.
But yeah, like I mean, Razor Fist will never be my friend because I really love Robotech.
And you don't like, he doesn't like Robotech?
No, he says it's a shit ripoff of Mech Warrior, and I'm a bad person, so. But I didn't grow up with Mech Warrior. I grew up with Robotech. I don't know what to tell you. I've got the whole box set up on my shelf there. Because the thing with Robotech is that it's not one thing. It's only one thing on this side of the world. An American animation company called Harmony Gold. What the fuck?
Okay, check this out. Now, Ghibli. Look at the guy in the back. I didn't even notice him until just now.
The thing is,
There's like a shadow man in the back.
okay, the one that sticks did to me, I guess maybe I'm too
No,
nondescript. This one still looks like Pogs. Like
yeah,
if you showed me this blind without the original image, I would have been that's Pogs.
yeah. It's true. That's pretty cool. I like how this. Okay, so this is just like it looks like it's a piece of a chair or something in the back corner there, that little black
Yeah, just
circle
sticking
thing,
up.
and then it's now a man. It's a
Or
scary shadow
is it a
man.
bird in the shadows?
Yeah, fuck.
I like the way they brought the squirrel back to life though and made his
Yeah,
gaping maw smile.
yeah. They moved Pox's eyes though, because Pox was looking at the
Yeah.
squirrel, and now he's looking at the camera. That's fucking brilliant. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing.
And this was Grok that did that apparently.
Yeah, Grok is pretty good, man. Yeah, Grok is pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I downloaded the app, the actual Grok app. It's in beta right now. It works the exact same way as in X.
So a company called Harmony Gold
Yes.
uh, bought 3 different franchises from Japan.
Okay.
One called Macross, one called Southern Cross, and one called Mas Piata. The thing is, they all featured very, very similar animation. Maybe it was all the same studio that had drawn them.
Right.
And high-tech mech, like transformable mechs, that was the big thing, right?
Yeah.
And aliens. And then Harmony Gold just tied them together as generations 1, 2, and 3. So Southern
Right.
Cross are the children of Macross, and then Mas Piata is like, I don't know, so many years later.
Macross
Uh,
Plus and yeah.
well, no, Macross Plus, that all comes way after, right?
Oh, okay.
But these 3 things were then weaved together as one sort of disjointed story that doesn't really make a lot of sense. And then they rounded it off with a very bad movie called Robotech 2: The Sentinels. Uh,
Wait,
all of it,
Robotech and Macross are the same thing?
yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah.
Okay.
The Macross saga is the first part of Robotech. This three chunks of animation, and but that's what I watched when I was a kid, and I liked that more than Transformers and GoBots. So now I'm still a big fan. But there was a comic book called Robotech Genesis that came
Hmm.
out that really did a good job of filling in gaps in the lore. Like how somebody took Alien and Predator and just went
Yeah.
perfect, right? So Robotech Genesis fleshed that out for us. And
That's
I
cool.
enjoyed it. Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, there was a Japanese animated series that was on TV called Battle of the Planets. And what it was basically they dubbed over a Japanese series called Gotcha Man. It's
Well,
about a
that sounds
family.
familiar.
It's about a family of like superheroes. They ride around this big red and blue spaceship. It looks like a jet, and all of their shit is like their uniforms are like fucking bird themed. So the girl looks like her fucking helmet looks like a dove, and Mark and Jason both have birds of prey. And there's this little like awkward kid called Keop, and he looks like a duck or something. And then there's a big fat guy called Tiny, and his helmet looks like an owl. And their villain is Zoltar, who in some instances is a guy, and in other instances is a girl. So I'm like, it looks kind of like androgynous, and he wears a cape so you can't see if he's got tits or not, and he's kind of skinny. Anyway, that show was good. I had the comics too. Yeah, Gotcha Man or oh, somebody's coming trying to get in here. My cat. Hey, buddy, you want to come in?
No, I just want the door open.
Yeah,
You keep
like
talking.
closed doors. Cats don't like closed doors.
You keep talking. I've got to take a quick break. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, so Gotcha Man. I never watched Gotcha Man, but I do remember watching Battle of the Planets. And for the North American market, the Battle of the Planets show was hosted by this little fucking like there was this little robot that kind of looked like R2D2. It was like gold and had a cape and shit. Can't remember what his name was, but basically this little robot would basically in between sort of commercial breaks would talk about what was going on in the adventure. Oh, I sure hope Mark and Keop can get out of the dungeon. You know, that kind of shit, right? And it was like the style of the robot was completely different from the style of Gotcha Man or Battle of the Planets. So it was just like, what is this shit? You know, why is it like that? But anyway, this was. Let's see what else Grok can do. Oh, I can't share if I don't think I can present without his authorization. No, I still need his authorization. My cat and my dog are now fighting. Cat came in here to get attention, and the dog decided he was going to chase. Poor cat. So, folks, Gundam Wing style. Yeah, so Gundam and Battle or Robotech were the two different giant mech type things, right? Gundam Wing. But what is BattleTech then? There's Robotech, BattleTech, Gundam Wing. Those are the big giant fucking mech suit show slash book slash media, right? Was there something else? I know there was Neon Genesis Evangelion, which was like, you know, kind of a weird series where these giant robots had to be piloted by 15-year-old girls.
Evangelion is incredible. Okay.
Yeah, but why does it have to be piloted by 15-year-old girls?
Something about the plasticity of the brains of children.
Oh, okay.
Right. And yeah, and only a few are compatible, and it's only those two girls and Shinji, the boy.
Yeah,
Right. They're the only kids that they've found that will survive the process for any length of time or something like that.
right. And then the angels are basically big alien mechs that are purple and green and silver, and they have to fight them.
But I think they're alive.
Oh, are they alive?
Yeah. They're
Like
kaiju. Yeah.
oh, they're kaiju. Okay, because when I saw them, we used to when I worked at the comic book store. You know, we had all this shit, and we would sell like the toys and stuff. A couple monkeys. We would sell the toys and stuff, and I remember seeing angels in their blister packaging. I'm like, oh, they look kind of like alien mechs. And then I saw the Evangelion, the things that the 15-year-old girls would pilot. And I'm like, okay, those are clearly mechs. They look like fucking Gundam style mechs. And then the angels looked like okay, they're mechs too. They just look like they were designed by aliens. I thought BattleTech was a game first. Could have been. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was.
because the mech suits are actually their mothers. What? The mothers of the
Angels.
of the angels. Oh, what? I don't understand. I gotta watch it now.
Wait, or does he mean of the kids?
The mech suits are give birth to the kids, or they're incubated in the mech suits. No, the mech suits are the kids' moms. What? How does that work? The kids are biological. The mech suits are technological. I don't get it.
No, but the mech suits aren't built either. They're found and then converted.
The whole thing is a dark meth fever dream. Yeah, and I think it was a guy who had
Wildly
a
cool,
thing for 15-year-old girls. Like, yeah, we got to put them in these skin tight fucking suits. So that's how they have to pilot them. They can't pilot them in regular clothes. They can't wear flight suits. No. They got to have these skin tight fucking suits. You can see every little fucking thing.
That's just Japan. What are you gonna do? Right. No, and like the whole thing is like the story of the boy whining, "No, Dad, I don't want to pilot giant mechs and live with teenage girls. I want to go to school."
I remember working the conventions when I worked for the comic book store, working the convention. There was always like at least a half a dozen girls dressed as the is it Akira or what's her name? What were the names?
Asuka,
Suka and
Asuka and Ray.
Suka and Ray, and then there was a third chick.
No, oh no, what the fuck is her name? She's like their den mom. Uh,
Taki or something like that, or
yeah, but she's the MILF.
yeah.
Legit though, the real enemy of the series is a council of Jews that run Nerve. Go rewatch it. No, the Jew fears the samurai. Like this is well known.
Jew. Oh fuck, that's funny.
Well, I mean, think about it. Like, look at the Tengu.
The Tengu.
Yeah. The
Tell me what.
Japanese demons that live in the mountains and steal everyone's money,
Oh, when I
right?
think of when I think of Japanese demons, I think Oni.
Oh no, but the Tengu are like a race of demons that, have
Wait,
weird hats and long noses.
oh, what's the? That's okay. I'm
Oni
thinking
means Oni is like a general, like any ghost or creature that
evil
can't be
spirit,
explained. But the Tengu are like little gods that run around and yeah, like they,
and
yeah.
then the Koopa. The Koopa are these little mischievous turtle spirits, water spirits that look like turtles, human turtles, and they have a depression in the top of their head that is filled with the water from the body of water that they come from. And if you can tip them or push them so that the water falls out, they become powerless or some shit, or they fucking die or fall unconscious or some shit. Kind of neat. I would get Sunrise Studios to adapt them. Phylacteries and tribal noses. So what you're saying is if I have a lich in my game, I should give him a Yiddish accent.
It,
Oh, you come into my tomb here, you're trying to steal all my shit.
I'm
And
not
that's
saying
not
don't
gonna
do it.
happen. I'm not gonna let you get my treasures. You don't know where my phylactery is. I'm gonna fuck you up. That's a
I'm not
lich.
saying don't. That's all.
That's a lich in my Deathbringer campaign. Oh, you come here to fuck with my shit. Well, that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna stop you. Yes,
Yeah, it's
they are
fair.
canceling liches because of the phylactery, and it's connected to international Jewry.
Not
Why? A
even
phylactery is just a container. You put your soul in. This, just call them Horcruxes. Fucking D&D is practically Harry Potter now, anyway. It's so gay.
It needs some gendermancy.
Gender. There you go. Yeah, fucking calm a Horcrux. I like liches. I've always liked liches, and I've always liked like they're clearly an evil creature, but I've always liked the idea of them just being wizards who couldn't stop being wizards, and they just like I have to fucking keep going. I cannot die because I need to keep fucking becoming a wizard, becoming more powerful. So do they necessarily have to be evil? I know it's an evil act to turn yourself into undead. I don't know why, but probably some other let's trick God and keep winning thing. Yeah. I have a lich in my campaign. They haven't come up. Haven't come upon him yet, but I made him a good guy. So the idea is, I don't think they watch my live stream, so I don't think it matters. No, Melina doesn't watch these live streams. So the lich in my game was a good wizard. He saved the kingdom from a impending invasion from the nation to the north. But in order to do so, he wasn't powerful enough to do it all on his own. So in order to do so, he sold his soul for the power to thwart this invasion. And what that ended up happening was basically this demon amplified his wizarding powers so greatly that he basically pushed all the ships back and out into the sea, kind of thing. As they were kind of come into the harbor, he basically summoned a huge wind and giant wave and sent them all the way back. And they never attacked again because they're like, holy fuck, they got a really powerful wizard over there. Anyway, so he was a good wizard. He wasn't a bad guy, but he sold his soul to a devil in order to defend the kingdom. And because he realized that if this demon ever got control of his soul, him being the powerful wizard that he was, this demon would wreak havoc on the world. And so he's like, you know what? I'm going to keep my soul from ever being harvested by this demon, and I'll put it in a phylactery and I'll live out the days as a lich, kind of thing. So after he becomes a lich, he just basically goes and hangs out in his secret chambers, and he doesn't cause any problem. He doesn't try and get any more power. He just says he's just stalling the demon taking his soul. So yeah.
Cool. I guess that's going to be key to game mastering, is just having 100 nebulous ideas on hand at all times, so wherever your players go, you can throw something at them.
Yeah.
And see what sticks, you know?
Well, this particular storyline with this guy, this lich, was actually the main storyline. And then I fucking sort of fell into a side quest when I gave them that chick who says, "Oh, find me this book in the Library of Ancients," because the Library of Ancients is on the way to where they're going, and I'm like, I can't. I have
You
to.
made it on the way.
No, I had a map that I drew.
Okay.
Up already, right, and it was there along the trip. I'm like, well, fuck, they're not going to just ignore this, this ruin called the Library of the Ancients. So I've got to flesh it out somehow. So I gave them this little hook that they could go and do the side quest. And how involved they got in the side quest was up to them. But I had the plan that the book was actually a trap that would magically transport them to this desert kingdom if they happen to open the book. And the clue for them not to open the book was that the entire adventure prior to them recovering the book was they would open books and be transported to other places. So they should have known not to open the book that they were sent to recover once they finally did get it. But of course, they opened the fucking book. I'm like, all right, you're being transported to the desert, and I was hoping you wouldn't, but you did. And in order, like, I didn't make it so you find a book. Do you decide to open it? That's not what I did. I went and I bought a book off of Amazon, like a leather notebook that had an eye in the middle of it. And
Nice.
I decorated it up to look like what they were looking for. And it's a leather notebook that has a little latch on it. So you have to choose to open it.
Right.
It's not like you're going to accidentally open it. So I'm like, yeah, okay. So you finally get the book that you've been looking for, and I hand it to them, and it's closed, and I'm like, I just let them do what they're gonna do. And so the player, the new player who'd never played an RPG game before, the young guy, is like, and even though they're saying, "What are you doing? Don't open it," and he just, oh, whatever. And he just opens it. And I'm like, all right, you fucking did it. You opened it, so boom, you're transported.
Oh, that's pretty good actually. That it wasn't the character that fucked up, it was the player.
Well, you know what? The fact is, the player was playing his character, young and naive, and thinking he knows what's best, kind of thing.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I enjoy our RPGs. I especially enjoy them in person because I don't know, I like the exchange like that, you know. And I was watching a YouTube video about how you have the dungeon master's screen,
Yeah.
so you can keep your notes hidden and stuff like that. Well, apparently back in the 70s when this game was first being played by Gary Gygax and Arneson and that sort of stuff, the GM was behind an actual full body screen. So the players didn't even all they had was this what do you call it, omnipresent voice that was describing what they were seeing. They couldn't play off of what the GM was saying. They couldn't play off his body language or facial expressions. So
That's
that
weird.
like everything was just a voice, and I'm like, that's actually kind of cool because
Well,
it's a
that's what
completely different game if you're not seeing eye to eye, kind of like that, right?
well, that's how Mad God Gaming will work, right?
Yeah, there'll be an avatar. You won't see me; you'll see an avatar.
Oh, and that'll be actually pretty slick if we're using, like, StreamYard. You just change your avatar to your character
Yeah,
that got AI'd,
yeah.
right? That's
Yep.
pretty cool.
And then I can like share images on the screen for you
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
to like. This is what the town looks like. This is what the fucking guy at the bar looks like. Yeah, he's got a third eye in the middle of his forehead. And that's where AI is getting really helpful too. Because if I have an idea for an NPC, I just
Yeah.
have to go into Grok and say, "Hey, draw me a fantasy fucking character who has three horns on his head and carries a big axe." Boom, does it. I'm like, great. This is what
I've
you
been
look at.
using
This is what you see when you walk into the bar. And then you see it.
I've been using Protea.
What's Protea?
Yeah, just a AI image generator,
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
right? There's, like, a free version online, and that's what got me the thumbnail here for Burbrick.
I like that thumbnail too. That's a good pick.
Yeah, it's not bad.
You know what? Just for shits and giggles, I'm gonna open up Grok.
And drop some NPCs.
Yeah. Well, no, let's where's Pox's character? Hold on.
Big axes are awesome. Yeah, suddenly I wanna play Skyrim.
What do you call this guy again? He had a picture of him.
Crankshaft Blaster.
There he is, Crank Shaft Blaster. All right, so Grok. All right.
Hey, Grok, draw us up a goblin alchemist by the name of Crankshaft Blaster. Man, some of the ones that I did for those, Rifts characters for you guys were really cool, though.
Yeah.
Oh, and typically when I'm doing Rifts, or even for this one, right, one of the keywords I use in the generation is cyberpunk. It just gives you cool color splashes and lighting effects.
Okay, I gotta give Grok a little bit of context because if I say Goblin Alchemist, he's gonna think fantasy, right?
Well, that's what he said. You'll probably have to put in setting specific prompts, or it will
Yeah.
probably spit out
Not
fan.
fiction.
Well, that's just add cyberpunk. See what happens.
Yeah. Okay. He specializes in
Give him a navy pea coat
narratives
and goggles. Asks
and
Pox.
uh, modern attire and equipment. He carries a lead pipe as a weapon and grenades. All right. Let's see what he says.
How long does Grok typically take to generate
Not
one?
that long. It's got 2 images already for me here. I like the first one here. You know, let's share.
Yes, let's.
I like this one. And then there's this one. And
Not
this
too
one's not bad
shabby.
either, but I just don't like the beard.
Yeah, gobos don't have facial hair.
Typically not. They just got wiry, like fucking mussy hair. I like this one a lot, actually.
It reminds me of the thing in the swamp from Legend.
Oh yeah. Except it
Yeah.
had a big longer nose, didn't it?
Yeah. And it was like on an enormous snake body and it ate children, but
Oh wait, I'm thinking of a different guy. Because
Legend
there was like a goblin type character in Legend too.
is there? Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes, it does look like him too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Pox? Does that look like Craig
Swamp.
Shaftblaster?
Ooh, keyword skinny.
All right, let's try that. Edit.
Yeah. Gobbo looks too human proportioned. Yeah, too beefy.
Make him skinny.
You can just add to the existing image.
Yeah, you just edit it by saying, "Hey, do this. Make him skinny and his hair darker."
Yeah, needs to be scrawny, says Pox.
I don't know. He's not much skinnier.
Okay,
That's not much skinnier.
use scrawny.
Hair's darker there.
Really scrawny. This is interesting. Do you have to pay to use this, or
No, it's free right now. Eventually, you'll probably have to pay. Yeah, it doesn't quite know how to do scrawny. So what do you mean scrawny? Like
I don't think it's
he's not
changed the
any
body
thinner.
proportions.
Maybe it's just interpreting scrawny as something different.
Okay, emaciated. See if that gets a response.
I think you get like 20 or 30 free prompts and responses, but
Okay, so don't waste them all on this.
okay,
Proteus
it's per day, and then
still,
emaciated.
because we're after midnight, so this is all of today's.
Desanguinated. No, I'm just joking. No blood. Yeah, it's not quite getting it, eh? I mean, they may look slightly skinnier, but not
I
really.
don't. No, they didn't. Like, look how broad he is.
Yeah, well, I think it's also the clothing he's wearing.
Sure, but big up that picture.
So there's the first picture.
Well, yeah. See, that's the thing, though. Okay, so
That's the second picture. So basically, it looks like they made his neck a little thinner.
yeah, but it doesn't matter because his shoulders are in that jacket, and he's
Yeah.
3 heads wide.
Yeah.
Like, I
Very
mean,
good.
that's superhero proportions.
Yeah.
A normal person is like 2 1/3, two and a
Yeah.
half to
All,
two
look,
and
all they've done is made him a little more wrinkly, and his neck is slightly thinner.
No, no, they don't get it. It
No,
doesn't get it.
no,
It doesn't understand the proportions there.
no.
Like,
All right. How about this? Okay.
change the art style to comic or manga, asks
There
Pox.
we go. Draw a skinny goblin in a grease stained tank top holding a steel pipe, wearing a bandolier, a grenade bandolier.
Yeah, and it's like manga or comic, like a button you click or you tell it.
Manga or comic. Manga style.
And generate.
Okay, the one on the right is not skinny.
Okay, I can fix this. Tell it, make the heads bigger.
There you go. Yeah, I mean they're not generally skinny, they're more lithe. This one's not bad actually. Although I don't know what the fuck's going on with that weapon.
Well,
It's a
it's
lead
like if
pipe.
Vegeta was a goblin. If Krillin was a goblin.
That's funny. Yeah, it's pretty cool what you can do with Grok. It's actually not bad. But you're right. We're after midnight hour, 12:30. I don't know, 12:24. I don't know when you want to call it.
No, yeah, we'll call it here. We're gonna figure out some timing for Mad God Gaming, and
Yeah, we'll get something going.
you'll drag us through some game.
Yeah, I'll lead you by the nose.
Perfect. I need that. Otherwise, I run away from the conflict.
There you go.
And we'll get Six involved.
Yeah, six I think would like it.
Yeah,
Is he going to bed? Nope.
maybe.
Take care, guys.
Yeah, we'll build up a group chat and pull Six in.
Sounds good. Oh,
Well, anyway. Oh, wait.
anywho,
I've got a stupid joke.
do it.
Two scientists walk into a bar. The
Okay.
first says, "I'll have H2O." The second says, "I'll have H2O too." The second one dies.
Yes. I've heard that one before.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's good though.
All right. Good night. Thanks for coming. Next week, Craig's channel, links in the description. We will see you next week.
Next Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah. Peace out. Hail Sigmar.